Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Wibta, if I don't want to acknowledge my daughter's 18th birthday, please read updates before commenting. I, 39 male, don't want to so much as text my daughter today. Her 18th birthday. Background: her mom and I split when she was little. I have custody. I raised her, and her mom has done pretty much nothing useful her whole life. In fact, her mom abandoned her for weeks at a time while we were getting divorced, so she could go hang out with the guy she's now married to, leaving my daughter with grandma, which I didn't know about at the time. I was living at my parents', giving her space, but still paying all the bills. I went back and took my house back when I found that out. It's been my daughter and I ever since. I'm military. The hardest part to me about being deployed is being away from kids. Rocket attacks ECT. Didn't care too much. I did push her to succeeded school, and she graduated with a very high GPA. She never had much chores because I was more concerned about her having time for school work. But I did expect the chores to be done before going out somewhere. I wasn't strict, but I had expectations. I know I taught high morals and good ethics. Don't be lazy. Be kind to people. Use your brain. Take the high road. Despite my efforts, she became a sneak and chose to do some really stupid things. Those things result in being punished, like most parents would do. She has always known that she can come to me about anything. I've always been there for her and always been supportive of her. I wanted to take her to a nice dinner last night and make her take her to breakfast this morning. I knew she was going to be at her mom's this weekend. However, nobody told me that she actually opted to leave for her mom's before I was even home from work. She didn't even want to spend a few hours the evening before her day with me, but is spending the whole weekend with her mom. Needless to say, I was crushed to find out that she wasn't even letting me take her to dinner. Her and I have been a team since she was able to walk. She put me on the you don't matter list, so I'm doing the same. After being the one to raise her, I just want a little bit of time to celebrate her day, even though she chose to go to her mom's the whole weekend. And I didn't even get that. We even talked about this before she left. So she cold just postponed her departure one day out of the 4 days she took off work. She still chose to not give me so much as a couple hours. Seems to me that overall, I don't matter to her at this point. This is why I feel no need to acknowledge her day. So, am I the antagonist? Update: thank you for the input. I definitely WBTA. I'll be calling her shortly. Update 2: I called her. We had a very nice talk. Actually pretty long. Update 3. More like an expansion of update 2. I started the conversation by telling my daughter 1. I love you. 2. Happy birthday. 3. I'm sorry I got mad. That was wrong of me. I don't think you're the father of the year as you claim, and I'm sure your daughter would tell a different tale if you pressed her. I wonder if she ever got to experience what it was like to be a child after hearing you talk about all these expectations. Comment by team member Alex. Now for the top comments. So let me get this straight. You taught her to take the high road, but you are choosing to take the low road by not wishing her a happy birthday. Lead by example. Esh. Yes, everyone sucks here, but I'm still sorry that Op is in this position. A lot of pain and hurt feelings in this post, but agreed. He is the adult and needs to model the behavior he wants to see and demonstrate that his love is not conditional. My parents got divorced a few years back, and I was in my early 20s when it happened. They kept 2.5 hours from me. Trying to split time between them is so stressful as I don't want to upset either of them. This will always be a sucky situation for everyone involved. Am I the antagonist for getting my sister laid off at our job? My sister Meg 21F and I 24F no longer have a relationship. We were close growing up, but about a year ago I discovered that she had an affair with my long-term boyfriend. It was a huge mess and I haven't spoken to her since. Despite her repeated attempts to reach out, Meg and I both worked at a plant where our dad is a supervisor. Until recently, he got us both jobs there right out of high school. We worked different shifts in different areas after I got enough seniority to move to days. Fast forward to last month, and I heard that her line was being shut down and the employees were being distributed to other departments. She was supposed to be coming to my department on my shift. As soon as I heard this, I talked to my supervisor, Todd. We've worked together for years now, so I was honest with him. I told him about her affair and said that if she came to our shift I would quit. I'm a team lead, so I would be forced to interact with her every day. Todd offered to deny her, and I said yes. Unfortunately, the only other department she could work would be our dad's, and neither of us are allowed to report directly to him. So she ended up getting laid off. Afterwards Meg sent me a long text from a number one didn't know, pouring her heart out. She said that she could no longer afford her apartment or car with no income and begged me to talk 2 hours for her. I replied that none of that is my problem and to not contact me again. Am I the antagonist? NTA because you discreetly told your management the truth and promised to resign. If your sister really wanted to, she could get a job in a flash. Since your dad is a supervisor at this company, I believe she wanted to stay because she gained some nepotism points. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. So her line was shutting down. Yes, the line consisted of 2 people total. Otherwise, they did indeed have the ability to shift people around. Your work chose not to. Also, why can't either of you work under your father? But you can be her direct lead every shift, not the a-hole. First off, her actions are so up. I'm so sorry you had to go through that opus. But you knew your boundaries. You can't work with that person and made yourself aware. If they couldn't manage to shift people around, then that's that and was out of your hands. A lot of people at work have family who they work directly with. Their difference is that I wouldn't have any authority over her. We would both report to Todd. NTA, you warned that you would quit and nothing more. Your supervisor had to choose between you and your sister and he did. It's extremely unfortunate that she ended up in this situation. But the truth is that these are the consequences of her own actions. She ruined the relationship between the 2 of you by having an affair with your long-term boyfriend and now she needs to face the consequences of that. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister I'm never going to be excited about her pregnancy? My sister and I, she's 23 and I'm 21, are extremely close. We always have been. We've been through a lot as we were adopted as kids. And our BO parents weren't nice people. She's found growing up a lot more difficult than I have. When I was 18, I moved to another part of the country for college. And she got pregnant a couple weeks later. She miscarried at 8 weeks. Which has jump-started a terrifying pattern of her getting pregnant with just about anybody, just because she wants a baby. She's been pregnant 6 times, and all have ended in miscarriages. Each time she's gotten pregnant, it's made us push each other away, because the concern I have for her stops me from living my own life sometimes. About a year ago, she got into a relationship with probably the worst partner yet. He belittles her, calls her names, everything. Since being with him, she's had 2 miscarriages, and she's now pregnant a 3rd time. When she called me to tell me, I just couldn't hide how irritated I was. I feel like I'm waiting for her to self-destruct, and even if this baby doesn't end in miscarriage, I cannot be excited about it. She went crazy at me, saying I was jealous, and that I need to stop judging her and her life. Our parents have told me to stay out of it because they're worried she'll isolate herself further. Am I the antagonist? I see your sister doesn't want to seek medical care. But just a note that this many miscarriages could be, among other things, or thyroid issue needing diagnosis and treatment. You must withdraw at some point, and that time is now. Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. Your sister is 23 and has had 6 miscarriages? Yikes. NTA. She needs an intervention and medical treatment. This is way beyond something you, a 21-year-old, can deal with. Even if a few of the pregnancies were not real, as Op says in another comment, her sister is in dire need of medical help. It seems lazy to say she seems to be wanting a baby to fulfill abandonment issues from childhood, yet it doesn't seem like a stretch. NTA, it's exhausting supporting someone who keeps hurting themselves the same way over and over again. Maybe you should have controlled yourself, but definitely stay out of it. Am I the antagonist for making my wife order off the kids menu or share a meal with me? My wife has never been a big eater. That's fine. And I don't have a problem with it. What I do have a problem with is that my wife is somehow also a greedy eater. She always prefers a large variety of foods together at a time, just in smaller portions at home. This is annoying, but it's manageable. When we go out to eat though, it becomes a nightmare. She will order whatever can get her the most variety of options, ignoring the cost. She will add sides, appetizers, and desserts to her meal, only to eat 1 or 2 bites of each thing she orders. Maybe this would be manageable if she ate leftovers, but she refuses to, so all the food just ends up going to waste. Most of the time, I find myself ordering small meals and eating what remains of her orders just to try and justify it. But I don't like 90% of what she orders and just want to eat my own damn meal. A week ago, I got incredibly annoyed when she ordered herself a full rack of ribs and an appetizer, only to eat like 20% of each. I only ordered a salad so I could finish the rest off, but I hated the sauces she chose for the ribs and most of the appetizer went into shade. As we were leaving, I told her that I'm sick of spending $40+ on her alone for food she does not end up finishing. I told her that from now on, she can either order 2 things off the kids menu or we can work out something we both will enjoy and share. She ignored me and thought I was not serious. Well, last night we went out to a wing place. As we sat down, I asked for a kids menu and she got confused when we started talking, and I told her that she either needed to order off the kids menu or share with me. She got quiet and refused to talk to me and started saying that I'm insulting and belittling her. We ended up going out into the parking lot and having a fight before she got an Uber home. She's not talking to me now, and this morning I got a call from her dad screaming at me for what I did. I'm having second thoughts now about this. She should pay for the expenses out of her own pocket if she works and continues to squander food in that manner. You ought to have talked about it and communicated with her more effectively. She might have provided alternative suggestions for preventing food waste if she didn't agree with it. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. Look for buffets to eat. I'm the same way. I love a variety, but don't eat much. I always get a salad that has a little of everything, or go to a buffet. Also, I'd say op needs to sit down, and if they don't split the bill in the future, start making a food budget. For eating out, our meals should cost a maximum of X. Info. Has she explained why she felt the need to do that? Is this a cultural thing? Is this a home training thing? Is it a mental thing? Why does she do that? There doesn't have to be a possible reason for it. Not saying there isn't one, but it's not the only possibility. My aunt is like this, and she's just incredibly high-strung and picky. Info. How long has she been ordering this way? Has she done this the entire time you've been married? Since you started dating? Am I the antagonist for refusing to pay my mother-in-law back with interest? Back about 3 months ago, I lost my job as an RN following a gym accident that left me partially paralyzed in my left leg. I had to go through PT, but it wasn't super severe by any means, and I regained most mobility by last month. I'm still in PT however, because there is simply certain things I cannot do, like bend the leg without me guiding it with my hands. So it looks like I'm walking with a peg leg. Basically, during this time my mother-in-law sent my husband like $600. We did not ask her for the money, but she knew we were pretty hard up at that time because my insurance does not cover all of PT, and it was rather expensive, so our savings was going away at an alarming rate. Also during this time my mother-in-law made me feel like absolute shit because she kept making comments about how broke she was and kept saying, well, if I hadn't helped you guys out, stuff like that. I often reminded her that we did not ask for the help. She tried sending us more money shortly thereafter, and I refused to accept it because I wasn't about to have that shit dangling over my head, just like my own scum family had done for years. I hate the whole you wouldn't have that if it weren't for me bullshit. It's the reason I refuse most help. Thankfully I was able to start a new job from home about a month back and we were able to start coming up with money to pay mother-in-law back. Well, my husband goes to his mother's yesterday to give her a portion of the money we owed, and when he returned he starts talking about wanting to give his mom like $400 extra. I asked why, and he mumbled some excuse of well she didn't have to help us. I told him I wasn't about to do that because $400 is literally like 34 hours of work, close to an entire paycheck of mine. Well, to sum it up, he later admitted that his mother had said that she deserves interest on the loan since it took us so long to pay it back and she almost went broke trying to help us. Generally she is not a money hungry person or even this ignorant, if I'm being honest, but I'm still not willing to do it. I said absolutely not, and if he plans to start paying her back interest, especially where he has been doing other things for her on top of this, like redoing her porch, painting her house, burning brush, mowing her 6-acre lot, etc., then I would be rethinking my options and potentially pulling my money from the shared account, because I'm not going to be funding his mother extra money on a loan we didn't ask for, and it's now going to be cutting into my paycheck's bill money. He keeps arguing she didn't have to help, so I snapped and said I didn't ask for her fucking help, and I said no. I was calm prior to this. He says I'm an for losing my cool over money and that I'm acting selfish because, again, she didn't have to help. Am I the antagonist? I believe you should also sit down and talk to your spouse about the expenditures associated with tasks like painting her house and mowing a 6-acre property. She receives over $250 worth of free work each month throughout the mowing season if the lawn is mowed twice each month at a minimum. Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. $400 in interest on a loan of $600 for 3 months. That's over 260% April. She's a loan shark. I hope your husband's not in charge of the family finances. NTA. Info. Are you 100% certain he didn't accept extra money from her behind your back? Because that's more interest than a pawn shop or a cash advance would have the goal to charge. And it sounds to me like he's trying to cover paying her back in full without admitting to you what in full actually is. NTA. But are you sure that your husband didn't go to Hoss mother to ask her for the money? That would explain her calling it a loan. No, he didn't. I made sure of that. I brought it up in front of both of them because I was unsure in the beginning. But no, even she said that she just knew we were hard up and wanted to help. Am I the antagonist for not taking my ex-girlfriend's kid to Disney with me? I'm a 29-year-old man. I have one kid, 6F, who is obsessed with Disney. Her birthday was coming up, so I worked and saved up enough money to buy tickets and pay for us to get there, and everything. The daughter I have is with my ex-girlfriend, who I was with for many years. I'm now married to another girl who I have a kid with, 2 male, so me and my wife got 4 tickets for Disney. I have mostly full custody of my daughter, but she recently went to stay with her mother while me and my wife went out of the state for a funeral. Last son stayed with my mom. When I went to pick my daughter up, my ex-girlfriend came out telling me I'm a horrible person for not including her kids in my family vacation, saying I should take her kid to Disney too, since I'm like his dad. His dad is one of my old friends who is now in prison, so I help with bills and food. But why should I have to pay more money for a kid that's not mine? Me and my wife both think it's wrong for her to ask, but my mom is on my ex-girlfriend's side. My mom still wishes we were together and hates my wife and says that it's my responsibility to take my ex-girlfriend's kid cause he will never get to experience that with his real dad who is in prison until the kid is 14 without a blood connection. I fail to see why some individuals feel entitled to family vacations. This is not your mother's domain, so she should mind her own business. Your ex should take all of her children to Disney if she wants them to experience it, including the one she shares with you. Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. NTA. My son doesn't take his ex-wife's kids from a previous relationship to the coast for the week. He only takes his son, the one he had with her. Going to Disney isn't a dad experience. His mother could take him just as easily. Your mother can also take him, if she feels that strongly about it. But it's definitely not your responsibility to take him. You are helping out extra already. Financially, so your ex should be appreciative of that, and not bust your balls about Disney. I don't even understand why. It seems like sending money in excess of their obligation seems to have created the entitlement. Maybe be clearer about just supporting your child. NTA. Also, your mom sucks. She and her toxic little self can stay all their way out of it.